She was 17 years old when her aunt sold her. Not with chains, not with force, but with a smile, a promise, and a one-way bus ticket from Jackson, Mississippi, to a mansion in Chicago. Her name was Maya. And for 47 nights, she lived through hell that no amount of money could justify. Every night at midnight, her billionaire employer would enter her small room. Every night she begged him to stop, and every night he told her the same thing. If you tell anyone, I will kill your mother and every single one of your brothers and sisters. So Maya stayed silent. She cleaned his floors, she served his meals, and at night she endured what no child should ever endure. But what this man didn't know was that Maya wasn't just surviving. She was watching, she was listening. She was gathering evidence that would eventually destroy him, his network, and everyone who helped him. Because on that 47th night, federal agents would storm through his estate on Lakeshore Drive with warrants, cameras, and questions he couldn't buy his way out of answering. But the most shocking part of this story isn't just what he did to Maya. It's who brought her to him. It's how many others came before her. And it's the one person Maya trusted most who turned out to be the monster's greatest accomplice. If you've ever wondered how evil hides in plain sight, how predators operate in boardrooms and ballrooms, and how one girl's courage brought down an empire, stay with me. Because what you're about to hear will make you angry. It will break your heart. But I promise you, by the end, it will restore your faith that justice, no matter how delayed, can still arrive. Hello friends, welcome to our story. Before we dive deeper, please like this video and subscribe. Also, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. It's incredibly special knowing our stories are resonating with people across the globe. But before we get to that 47th night, before the raid that shut down one of Chicago's most powerful men, you need to understand how Maya ended up in that house in the first place. How does a 17-year-old girl from rural Mississippi, a girl who had never been more than 50 miles from home, end up trapped in a billionaire's mansion 15 hours away? The answer is more disturbing than you might think, because Maya didn't run away. She wasn't kidnapped off the street. She was delivered, gift-wrapped in hope and desperation by the one person who was supposed to protect her. Her aunt, Patricia Morgan, a woman who wore designer clothes and drove a Mercedes, a woman the whole family looked up to as someone who had made it out and made it big. Patricia was the success story, the one who sent money home for school fees and medical bills, the one who promised she could change lives if given the chance. And when she showed up at Maya's mother's door in Jackson with an opportunity, nobody questioned it. Why would they? But here's what Maya's family didn't know. Patricia had made this trip before, 5 times before to be exact. 5 different families, 5 different girls, all between the ages of 17 and 22. All promised good jobs with wealthy families in Chicago, all told they'd make enough money to change their family's future, and all of them ended up in the same house, the same room, with the same man. So why did Patricia keep doing it? What was she getting in return? And more importantly, where were those other 5 girls now? Because when investigators finally searched that mansion on Lakeshore Drive, they found something in the basement that suggested not all of them made it out alive. Stay with me, because the deeper we go into this story, the more questions arise. And trust me, the answers are going to leave you speechless. Maya's story begins in a place most people have never heard of. Bentonia, Mississippi. Population barely over 400. The kind of town where everyone knows everyone, where the closest Walmart is 30 minutes away, and where opportunities are as rare as rain in August. Maya was the oldest of 5 children. Her father had died when she was 12, leaving her mother, Ruth, to raise 5 kids on a housekeeper's salary that barely covered rent. Ruth worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, cleaning houses during the day and waiting tables at night. Maya watched her mother's hands grow rough and worn, watched the light in her eyes dim a little more each year, and she made herself a promise. She would find a way to help. She would find a way to give her siblings the life they deserved. But in Bentonia, there weren't many ways out. So when Aunt Patricia showed up one Sunday afternoon in July, stepping out of her black Mercedes wearing clothes that probably cost more than their monthly rent, the whole family gathered around like she was royalty. Patricia had always been different. She'd left Bentonia 20 years earlier and never looked back. She sent money occasionally, called on birthdays, and every few years she'd visit with stories about her life in Chicago. She worked for wealthy families, she said, managed their homes, made connections, lived well. And on that July afternoon, she came with an opportunity that seemed too good to be true. A billionaire named Richard Bennett was looking for household staff, good pay, room and board included, a chance to save money and maybe even go to college one day. Patricia looked directly at Maya when she said it. She told Ruth that Maya was perfect for the job, responsible, hard-working, trustworthy. She could start immediately. The family would receive $2,000 up front, and Maya would send money home every month. Ruth hesitated. Maya was only 17, but Patricia smiled, that warm, reassuring smile, and said she'd personally watch over Maya like her own daughter. What mother could say no to that? What mother could turn down $2,000 when the rent was 3 months overdue? The bus ride from Jackson to Chicago took 14 hours. Maya had never been on a bus that long, had never been outside Mississippi. She sat by the window watching the world change outside, small towns giving way to bigger cities, fields turning into highways, everything becoming faster and louder and more overwhelming. Patricia sat beside her, talking about Chicago like it was paradise. The shops, the restaurants, the lake, Mr. Bennett's beautiful home. How lucky Maya was. How this would change everything. But there was something in Patricia's voice that didn't quite match her words. Something tight, rehearsed. Maya felt it but couldn't name it. When they finally arrived at Union Station, Patricia took her straight to a luxury apartment in the Gold Coast neighborhood. For 1 week, Maya stayed there. And for 1 week, Patricia trained her. How to clean properly. How to arrange flowers. How to serve meals without speaking unless spoken to. How to keep her eyes down. How to never ask questions. How to understand that wealthy people have different rules, and she needed to follow them without hesitation. At the time, Maya thought it was just about being professional. She didn't realize she was being conditioned for something else entirely. On the 8th day, Patricia drove her to Lakeshore Drive. The mansion sat behind iron gates, surrounded by tall hedges that blocked it from the street. It was the biggest house Maya had ever seen. White stone, tall columns, windows everywhere, security cameras on every corner, armed guards at the entrance. Maya felt small stepping out of the car. Patricia walked her inside, and that's when Maya met him. Richard Bennett. He was 53 years old, silver hair, tailored suit, kind smile. He shook her hand gently and told her she was exactly what he'd been looking for. He showed her the kitchen, the dining room, the library. Everything was marble and gold and crystal. Then he showed her to her room. It was on the 3rd floor, at the end of a long hallway. Small but clean. A bed, a dresser, a tiny bathroom, a window that didn't open, and a lock on the door. But the lock, Maya would soon discover, only worked from the outside. The first week was exhausting but manageable. Maya cleaned from 6 in the morning until 10 at night. She scrubbed floors that already looked clean, polished silver that already gleamed, prepared meals she rarely saw anyone eat. The house was huge, but it felt empty. She rarely saw Mr. Bennett during the day. There were other staff, a cook, a driver, 2 guards who rotated shifts, but none of them talked to her. They avoided eye contact, moved through the house like ghosts. On the 7th night, Maya collapsed into bed, exhausted. She called her mother using the phone Patricia had given her, a phone that could only call 1 number. She told her mother everything was fine. She was learning so much. Mr. Bennett was kind. She'd send money soon. Her mother cried with relief, and Maya went to sleep feeling like maybe, just maybe, this would work out. But at midnight, she woke to the sound of her door unlocking. She sat up, confused. The door opened, and Richard Bennett stepped inside. If you're still with me, drop justice for Maya in the comments, because what happens next is going to shake you. That first night, Maya learned the truth about why she was really there. Richard Bennett didn't need a maid. He had plenty of staff. What he wanted was something else, something he believed his money entitled him to. And when Maya tried to push him away, tried to scream, he calmly placed his hand over her mouth and told her that 1 phone call from him could end her mother's life. One word from him and her siblings would disappear. He had people everywhere, he said. Police on his payroll, judges who owed him favors. If she thought about running, about telling anyone, he would know before she made it to the gate, and her family would pay the price. Then he left $200 on her nightstand and walked out like he'd just completed a business transaction. Maya sat in that bed until sunrise, shaking, trying to make sense of what had just happened, trying to figure out if there was any way out, but every path she imagined ended with her family in danger. So she made a decision that would haunt her for weeks. She would survive, she would endure, and somehow she would find a way to escape. The nights continued, 47 of them, each one the same. Midnight, the door unlocking, his footsteps, her silent tears, the money left behind like it somehow made it acceptable. During the day, Maya moved through the house like a ghost. She cleaned, she cooked, she spoke to no one. The other staff avoided her eyes, and she understood why. They knew. They had always known. This wasn't the first time. One afternoon, while cleaning her room, Maya found something that confirmed her worst fears. Tucked between the mattress and bed frame was a small notebook. The handwriting was shaky, desperate. It belonged to someone named Jessica. The entries were dated from 2 years earlier. Jessica wrote about the same midnight visits, the same threats, the same money. She wrote about trying to run and being caught by the guards. She wrote about calling for help and having the phone taken away. Her final entry was dated March 19th. It said, "I told him I'm pregnant. Maybe now he'll stop. Maybe now he'll let me go home." There were no entries after that. Maya searched the rest of the room and found nothing else. No sign of what happened to Jessica. No sign of where she went. But Maya knew. Deep in her bones, she knew Jessica never made it out of this house. That discovery changed something in Maya. Fear turned into something harder, something sharper. She realized that staying silent wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about making sure she didn't become another girl whose story ended mid-sentence. So Maya started watching. She memorized the guards' shift changes. She noticed when the cameras were offline for maintenance. She paid attention to which rooms Richard used for his private meetings. And she waited for an opportunity. That opportunity came in the form of Marcus, one of the younger guards. Unlike the others, Marcus couldn't always hide his discomfort. Maya saw it in the way he looked away when Richard went upstairs at midnight, the way his jaw tightened. One night, after Richard left her room, Marcus was standing in the hallway. He looked at her with something Maya hadn't seen in weeks. Shame. He whispered 2 words that gave her the first spark of hope she'd felt since arriving. "I'm sorry." Maya woke to boots pounding marble floors, shouting. Her door burst open, but it wasn't Richard. The man wore FBI across his chest. "Maya Thompson? I'm Agent Martinez. You're safe now." Safe? Through her doorway, she watched armed agents flood the mansion. Richard Bennett descended the stairs in handcuffs, screaming about lawyers. Maya's legs wouldn't move. "Am I in trouble?" she whispered. Martinez crouched to her level. "We're not here to arrest you. We're here because of you. Every call you made? Logged. Every photo? Received. For 3 weeks we've been building this case. You gave us everything." Marcus appeared, no longer in uniform. "I contacted them after the first week," he said quietly. "I made sure you had a way out. Investigators photographed everything." Then someone shouted from the basement. Behind a false wall, they found 6 boxes. Each held personal belongings, IDs, journals, photos. Jessica, Tamara, Nicole, Bria, Jasmine, Kennedy. 6 girls who never came home. Maya hadn't been the first. She'd been the 7th. Upstairs, heels clicked on marble. Patricia walked in carrying shopping bags, probably collecting payment. Instead, she found federal agents and her niece staring with hollow eyes. "Patricia Morgan," Martinez stepped forward. "We have questions about the 7 girls you delivered here." Patricia's face drained. She glanced at Richard, who looked away. "I want a lawyer. After we discuss the wire transfers, the texts, the lies, we have everything, Patricia." As cuffs clicked around her wrists, Patricia glared at Maya with anger, not remorse. Maya stared back, unafraid. "You said family protects family. That's what I'm doing now." Patricia screamed her innocence as agents led her away. The empire had fallen. Maya was finally free. The phone call came at dawn. When Ruth Thompson answered and heard her daughter's voice, she collapsed to her knees, sobbing. Not from grief this time, but relief. Maya was alive. Maya was safe. And the sister Ruth had trusted with her child's life was a monster. Ruth took the first bus to Chicago. The reunion happened in a safe house surrounded by victim advocates and counselors. Mother and daughter held each other for what felt like hours, both crying, both apologizing for things that weren't their fault. "I thought I was saving you," Ruth whispered. "Instead, I gave you to evil wearing a family face." "You didn't know, Mama. None of us knew." The trial lasted 8 months. Every day, news cameras captured the fallen billionaire in orange jumpsuit, the aunt who sold her own blood, the guards who enabled it all. But they also captured Maya. For 4 days, she sat on the witness stand and told her story. Every detail, every night, every threat. The courtroom was silent except for her voice. Other victims came forward. Girls from the boxes. 3 were found alive in different cities, told they could never go home. Marcus testified too, turning state's witness, explaining how the system worked and how many people knew but stayed silent. The verdicts came swift and unanimous. Richard Bennett, life imprisonment without parole. Patricia Morgan, life imprisonment. The guards, sentences ranging from 15 to 30 years. The nurse who performed forced procedures, license revoked, 12 years. The mansion, seized, sold, proceeds divided among victims and their families. 1 year later, Maya stood in a college classroom at Northwestern University studying criminal justice, specializing in human trafficking prosecution. Her mother visited every weekend, proud beyond words. Her siblings thrived in better schools, their futures bright. Maya spoke at awareness events now, her voice steady and strong. "They tried to break me," she told audiences. "They tried to buy me. They tried to bury me, but they didn't know I was planted. Survivors don't just grow back. We grow stronger. We grow louder. And we make sure no one else endures what we did." Maya's story wasn't just about survival. It was proof that one person's courage can topple empires, that victims can become prosecutors, that justice, though delayed, still arrives. And that evil doesn't always look like monsters. Sometimes it looks like opportunity. Sometimes it wears a family face. But the truth always finds light. If Maya's story moved you, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. What would you have done in her situation? Would you have fought back? Would you have stayed silent to protect your family? Your voice matters. Remember, Maya's story represents thousands of others, but it's also proof that one person's courage can bring down an empire, that victims can become advocates, that justice can arrive. Thank you for staying until the end. Hit that subscribe button for more stories of courage and justice. And remember, your voice has power. Use it.